And I'll just hit the
All
record
right.
button. Yes, introducing on my show now. I'm pleased to be joined by Ben Garcia on my show. Welcome to my show. Looking forward to interviewing you today. How is life treating you?
It's great, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. So,
Great to hear it. Where
yeah,
are you
yeah.
situated in the world right now?
I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So the United States is where
Yeah,
I'm located
nice.
at. That's my home base. Yeah.
And Ben Garcia, you are a solo male independent artist.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I travel with a fiddle player. And then I travel with a guitarist this summer for a tour. And then, but yeah, and then I record with multiple instruments and multiple band members at times. But yeah, it's me by myself. That's it. So
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's sometimes good to have a bit of a backing band with you as well, someone to jam with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to have that when we record is great. So it's one is I get to hang out with really cool people that are great at music, and come from a diverse background of music, and it's just it's a fun experience, is what I'll say. I love it.
And you know
Yeah.
where the powerful world of music, was it always the path or the route you wanted to make?
Yeah, I mean, I did it when I was young. I started in music when I was 15, and then I started touring when I was about 16. And then I actually went till I was 21, and then I took 20 years off of music. And so I'm a year and a half back into it now. But was it always my life plan? No, not to be at the level I'm at. No, that it was a hope. It was a dream. But I've been very blessed to where I'm at right now with my musical career.
That's
That's it for
good.
sure.
How long have
Yeah.
you been writing songs for?
Oh, since I was 15. Yeah. And
Wow.
even in that break, I still wrote songs. This has been the last year and a half has been a whole different way I'm writing songs and a whole new reflection of how I write songs and what I'm writing about. And so,
Yes, because the next question I was going to ask, was your songwriting process the same as it was like in the past?
yeah, I generally let the thought come to me of what I want to write and then flow from there. I don't sit down and say, all right, I'm doing a podcast with somebody from England today. I'm going to write a song about that. I mean, it's just, it's on my mind and it's heavy throughout the day. And when that message comes down from my brain of what I want to write lyrically, I'll write that. And then I'll either put music to it. Most of the time I write the music and then I come up with a little rhythm and then write the words on top of there. But
That's
yeah,
good. What,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I was going to ask whatever works best with you because I have asked in the past, what do you like to write first? You know, the music or the
Yeah.
lyrics or the lyrics and the music?
Usually what I do, I mean, thank God for cell phones, right? So I'll write down like a little note if I have like a little rhyme or something I want to work on, and I'll hold on to that. That'll be the start of it, or like a subject matter or something I want to write about, and then I'll write the guitar, the music part, and then put the lyrics on after that. But it's rare that I write lyrics all the way out first and then do the guitar. It's
Yeah.
usually the other way.
And how would you describe your sounds or the sounds you're trying to create?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely in the realm of country music here in the States, and I like to think of it more as along folk country a little bit more at times. Just depending on where I'm writing, I've written folk country songs, I've written Americana songs, country songs, which may bring adaptation of the blues. It may bring in something from bluegrass that I've listened to that I like listening to. But right now, I'm really liking and enjoying writing these country songs. We're writing in this Waylon Jennings backbeat we have of this freight train coming down the road, coming at you. That I still write mellow songs, but I run this round of songwriting. I wanted to write that freight train coming down the road. That big bass line, that big drum coming at you, and it's been a really good time.
Yeah, a bit like
For
Johnny
sure.
Cash, maybe. He used to write about
Yeah,
blue
exactly. Just
trains.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that train and that they call it a train beat, I guess, on the drums is what they call it. And we've got some of that coming, but just like that heavy bass pushing you down, like a motor of a train coming. I mean, there's that, excuse me, there's the blues will write about trains, and traveling, and there's bluegrass songs and folk songs about riding trains, and I've written a train song forever, but like it's just kind of that idea of just that it's coming down and you hear it and you know what it is,
Yeah.
and so yeah.
And where you are, where you reside, is it quite rural where you are? And does that give you
I
inspiration to write?
that's a great question. So where I live is in the city. One of my businesses I own is out rural, and then we have a place in the mountains that's also rural that I spend a lot of time at, and that's actually how I got started into country music. Was I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, which was a big city, and then I went to college in a rural town, and by pure accident, this is the way the stars lined up. I worked at a feed store for animals. That was an ag store, and they play country music in the background all day. And I had not had newer country I hadn't been exposed to. I grew up listening to traditional country here, like Johnny Cash, Willie
Yeah.
Nelson, and Waylon and all them. But that was my introduction to newer country. And by just being at work all night and working through
Yeah.
college, yeah, it is around me. So
Mm. I
yeah,
always wanted to ask because here in the UK, we're never too far from like a corner shop or a supermarket. But in the
yeah.
States, what's it like, when you're in the countryside and you have to travel miles for like a convenience store? How do you get around that?
Oh man, I love it. That's what I love. I mean, like I played 2 weeks ago in Texas, and it was a 9 hour drive for me to get there through prairie, desert, and then cotton fields. And that's Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead used to say it. That people forget how to ride trains. They forget how to travel. They forget how to explore, and that's been the best thing about this to me is I love all of that. I mean, I don't even. It's a great question because I don't even think much about that. And I've always joked when I retire, I'm going to live in a city where I can walk a block and get a cup of coffee, instead of driving. Instead of driving. Now I can do that, but for when we used to have a place out in more country that we lived on 8 acres, and we had the horses and we had everything else, and that you didn't go to town a lot unless you absolutely
Mm.
needed it. So, but yeah, it's in my like retirement dream, and one of my thoughts was like I'm gonna live where I'm in a high riser where I can just, like you said, like go to the market or go to the store like in 5 minutes and be back home. Because you guys are so lucky you have that. And then
Yeah.
you have, is it where like you can go get like groceries, you can go get whatever like within a couple blocks of you? Is that the way it is
Yeah,
where you
that
live?
is,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
There's one like a pub, literally, and a garage or news agents, we call them,
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much within
And
a
what do you
mile
call
of each other.
what'd you call it? A news agent?
News agents, convenience
Okay.
stores,
Okay.
supermarkets. Yeah,
That's
that's what we
so
call them.
awesome. Yeah, I have not been to England. My brother has. My brother has his doctorate in English literature and has spoken over there. But it's definitely on my radar to get over to Europe. I would like to go over there to play music. Like I think that'd be a pretty cool
Nice.
run to do. Yeah. So yeah.
Great. And one of the reasons I invited you on my shows was to talk about your new release called Good Time Man as well. What do you hope listeners can expect from this latest
Yeah,
release?
so I guess we have a little bit of delay. So Good Time Man came out, and then we have another one we released called Sweet and True. And so, but they're both big fast songs going, and Good Time Man is a song about, man, I'm sure you've seen it when you're out, just people having a good time at a bar or at a club, or a pub, and just those little bit of shenanigans you get into when you're drinking is what Good Time Man is really written about. And then I wrote Sweet and True, which is the new, we just released it last week, so I apologize I didn't get
Yeah.
that over to you. But that one's written about working through the week and just getting to your partner on the weekend. Just that struggle of like, oh man, it's gonna be a long week. Mostly for out, because we were talking about rural. It's mostly about people that work outside. When you're in that sweat and tears and
Mm.
you're sweating it through and it's hot and it's nasty and you just want to get home to have a drink with
Yeah.
your wife or your girlfriend or and then and dance with them and celebrate the weekend is what that song's about. So yeah.
So there's two songs out right now.
Well, yeah, Good Time Man. Yeah, there's a handful. So what I've done is just release single after single after single, and so we're now getting to the point where it looks like we're going to wrap up all these singles and put them into an album released by October is what we're hoping
Great.
for. Yeah, none
What
of
we'll do,
that. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
what we'll do, we'll put the links on the songs
Oh,
on
sweet.
the video below.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, will there be a music video to accompany any of your releases?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Sweet and True, we filmed a little teaser video for it, and then we filmed another video, but instead of having the song in the background, it's a live cut of that. And I'll send you that because that comes out on YouTube this weekend. So it's a great
Right.
timing of that. But that
Lovely.
we filmed in a cowboy hat store. We filmed that, and it's me with the fiddle player playing Sweet and True, and it's so awesome. The guy who did it did so he did a great job. And it actually worked out well for me to be up this early with you because I do 2 videos today of me playing acoustic, like with just a mic of me talking about what the songs are about. And so we record that. That should come out in the next couple weeks. And then we recorded another live video. It's like talking about freight trains and talking about trains. Like it just all kind of this last month, everything started building really quick and
Mm.
blew up pretty quick.
Yeah.
That I was ready for it, but it's definitely moving
Yeah.
now and it's got momentum. And so
It's good to
which is
keep
great.
busy, isn't it?
It is. And it's a sense of blessing too. I mean, my biggest thing with my music is I hope people can relate to it. You know, I
Mm.
hope if like somebody's sitting around, even no matter where you live. I mean, I stream well in England, I stream well in Italy. You know, I mean, like I stream well in South America, but I just hope that I'm writing a song somewhere that somebody finds some truth in, and it means something to them and their week of what they have going on. Is what I really
Yeah, that
hope.
makes sense. Just wanted to touch briefly on some of your other songs you've released in the past. Love
Yeah,
Struck Blues, that's one of your
yeah,
strong ones, isn't it? Seems to be a
yeah.
favorite with the listeners.
They love that one. I love it. Like it's got a harmonica player on it. It's got what's called a dobro of a guy playing, and I love playing that song. I played it last night just around my living room, and it's a fun song. It moves well. It's got a good beat on it. It's a fun song. I really enjoy that one. Yeah,
And additionally to that one, Newtown as well, you
yeah,
released. Can you just
yeah.
tell me more about this one?
Yeah,
Newtown?
Newtown's an interesting song. I was really my job of what I do is I train dogs for a living, and I train bird dogs specifically. So and the breed that I bred for years when I was breeding dogs and competing was English setters, and so which you know came from where you guys are at,
Mm.
and I competed with English pointers. I competed with other breed of dogs, but I got to travel to all these towns with the horses and the dogs and competing, and Newtown's about you know, when you're younger and a little bit more fruitful, you tend to get in trouble in towns you travel to, and I really did that up. So Newtown's written about all the places in South United States that I got to travel to and gotten a little bit of trouble in and partying and having a good time is what that song's written about. So it covers. I was thinking about it. I played it the other day, and I was saying this. It covers Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia. I mean, I think it covers like all that area that
Mm.
I got to travel and
Nice.
go. Yeah,
And
yeah.
have you released any albums yet? Or as you were saying, these singles will lead to that
October,
album?
yeah, October. That's the goal. So we've got. So we're gonna pull out of that single list you're seeing, like Road Song. You know, that's the one that's on there. That forever was my most popular song that I released. So we're gonna pull Road Song off of that. I recorded 8 new songs that we'll pull and then combine the 4 from the previous run of releases and then 8 new ones and then release those in October.
Great. Because I've just
That's
been
the
on your
concept.
website as well. Feel free to share that where you got a
Yeah.
string of venues you're playing at.
Yeah, we're really busy. I play this weekend in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and then I'm off for a week, and then I'm in Denver, and then I'm in Western Colorado, and then I go to I do a fly-in show to Boise, Idaho. Then I'm back home for a week, and then I'm gone for a month on tour, and then
Oh.
then I have a couple weeks off because I've got to still I'm taking a month off of work to do a tour. So I'm gone for 30 days on tour and then I'm back for a little
Mm.
bit. And then we're now booking October, November ish. And so I've kind of left that alone depending on this album release and what happens. I didn't want to book too
Mm.
far without the
And
album
then
release.
what do you enjoy about playing like, smaller, intimate venues and also the larger ones as well?
Man, I love the small places. They're so fun. You know, I mean, the big places are fantastic. I mean, they're so fun to play because you get a crowd singing, you get a crowd dancing, you know, that's fun. But those intimate small places, uh, I think I don't know. Maybe it's something with my age now at 46 that people are enjoying those shows more. You know, those smaller ones where you can talk about what the song
Mm.
means and people are listening. You know, I mean, if you're playing a busy club, everybody's talking about their week. You know, they're partying with their buddies. They're doing those things. But to play like here, we call them. I don't know what you guys call them, but we call them listening rooms. You know, where you'll sit down. It's like a coffee shop. You know, kind of deal. But like you'll play. And it may be 60, 70 people, but they're all in chairs. You know, they'll have drinks, they'll have wine, you know, and they're listening to what you wrote. Then they want to know what that song's about. You know, like they're curious about what you write it about, what your writing process is, and you get time to share that. And I've done that. You know, like with Road Song, I'll talk about what that song means to me and my wife. I wrote that song for my wife, and like couples will hold on to each other. And I wasn't ready for that when I wrote that song. You know, like every time I've played that song, I've seen like a wife grab onto her husband and like hold his arm, you know, or they'll hold hands, you know, and that's a gift from God, man. You can't make that stuff up.
Mm.
You know, you can't ask somebody to do that. That's their own emotion of what they feel in that song.
And
Yeah.
do you play instruments as well? Have to ask. And if you had
Yeah.
play one, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I play guitar and mandolin. I've played guitar since I was 13. And so my mandolin has gone down of playing. And I think I've got to cut a mandolin on a song today. I'm in the studio this afternoon. And so those are the two I played. I tried banjo for a little bit, but it wasn't for me. So mostly guitar, and I play electric and acoustic guitar. I started off when I was younger, I played a lot of electric guitar in bands. And then mostly now I have a collection of really nice acoustic guitars that we play that are Gibsons, so those are mostly what I play is a Gibson
Mm.
songwriter is the style of guitar I play with. And then I have there's an old guitar here, some older guitars and then, but all Gibsons are what
Mm.
I play for my acoustics. So
And
yeah.
when people see your shows, can they also like buy CDs from you, like merchandise?
Yeah, we have merchandise. So we have T-shirts, we have koozies for beer, to put in. We have stickers, we have hats. We have a new run of stickers that comes out today. They get delivered today. They're coming out. We're in an artwork change. So we had initially when we started some artwork we really pressed. We've redone some of that artwork, and I like the artwork we're doing now. I think one has a bow and arrow on it. That's pretty. I think it's pretty badass. And then we have some that are coming out. There's one of this silhouette of me like with mushrooms coming out of it and some other cool hippie stuff that I think is pretty cool too. So, but some talented artists. I have a new logo that came out this winter that my sister-in-law drew for us, and that's that when we sold that sticker that's on the hats. It's going on a t-shirt run, but it looks like that will be the album cover for the album when it comes out because it's a really cool design
Yeah.
and it means a lot to me. My sister-in-law drew it for me, and it's a skull with the highway running through it. So back what you asked the question of those driving those roads and being in
Yeah,
that,
that's good.
that's yeah, it ties in with that. So
And I was going to ask if I can, your surname Garcia, does that have any connection with Spain at all? Because I've got a friend.
yeah, yeah, it does, and it's interesting. It's really interesting. Forever, I thought it was Spanish, because Garcia, the surname Garcia, and then if I remember right, my mom's DNA, my mom was like split down the middle of like perfectly. She was 50% English, 50% Irish. So my mom's from that from that part of the world, and then my dad, we thought we were native in Spanish because the Garcia and my grandmother's native, but we did our DNA, we found out there was more Italian and French in there, but they poured it out of Spain. So it was interesting because when people came from Europe, you had to pour it out of somewhere. And it looks like the Spanish was minimal, unless that's just the surname that traveled through.
Mm.
But I had more Italian and French in me on my dad's side from that parts of it than Spanish. But there's still a lot of Spanish in there. And then, but again, I've not been to Spain. My brother's traveled a lot more over in Europe than I have. But yeah, it's a Spanish surname. It's what it is. But yeah,
Fascinating looking into genealogy, isn't it?
it's so fascinating, man. Like it's so like I didn't realize how much Native I had in me. Like we knew we had some Native American in us, but it was higher than I thought, what it was going to be. And so it really, really, really interesting. Have you done it? Have you done it?
My sister
Genetics
has,
test?
and my
Yeah.
sister has. She's done a lot of work, looking back, managed to get to 1800s, which is
Oh
going back a
yeah.
bit. So
Yeah, it is. Does it, since you're in Europe, does it break down the regions of Europe you're from that you would be like, or how did it print off in hers?
yeah, so she had to go to like a library, and then we've got like history
Okay.
archives, and she can like trace back, like, our name basically. Not sure
Yeah.
about the locations. I'll have to ask her on that one. But
That's what I wanted to see. That was
mm,
the cool one to me. Cause I think like I think what happened a lot of when that movement from Europe happened in the United States is you just got here and they gave you a name because you didn't, there was so many languages peeling in, but the English side of me, that's the next stuff I want to start looking at. And the Irish side of like, where did that come from?
yeah,
Like that's the part that I think is fascinating,
yeah.
and you guys have such a condensed population, in one area. That's what really, really would be
Yes, you're
cool.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did she
yeah.
did she find out you guys had like millions of dollars in a like homestead somewhere? Like some farm somewhere that some uncle left you didn't know about. Did she find anything like that out or
I don't think so, actually.
no?
I'll have to ask her. I do
Yeah.
forget sometimes,
Yeah.
but
I think that's always the dream when you do your testing, like you're somewhere one of your family members had like some huge homestead, that you didn't know about, and so or like had a castle over there, like you
yeah,
didn't know,
yeah.
and so but yeah.
I think it's a maintenance which will be the problem if you had to have a castle over
That's a good
here.
point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, who's going to be the caretaker? That stuff. Who's going to take on the budget of that stuff? Yeah, there's,
Sometimes,
like, go ahead. Yeah,
yeah, sometimes good to talk about these things in the interviews. I know we do music, but it's also good to touch on other, factors which
oh
relate to
man,
music.
music's just a story of what you're going through,
Mm,
right? I
mm,
mean, that's just a story of what you're around. But I was going to tell you, like, I heard the story once of this family, like, the mom and dad decided they were going to get their kids DNA tests, for Christmas. And this is probably like I need to write a song about this story because it fits so much into how I write. But so this family, they order their DNA test, and it's a mom, the dad, and the daughter, and two daughters. And the dad wasn't the dad on the genetic tests of the daughters, so it ruined their whole Christmas. So if you follow me, like the mom had an affair and it came out through the DNA test and it ruined their whole Christmas. So like I think you got to be careful of those things when you order them, like, or be honest with your partner if those kids are your kids or
Sure.
not, because it'll show. But yeah, so but yeah, I think music's just a story of conversation is all it
Mm.
is, and that's how it started. I mean, I love the history of music of when we couldn't write books down and you'd have these traditional songs that carried on the message of things, and like where you're at, so many good like pub songs, and Ireland's the same way,
Mm.
like same Scotland, but so many good pub songs that carried on so much. Like my favorite song that came from over there is "Off to Sea No More," which is an old folk song here, but it's about a guy who owes this guy money and he's got to go out to sail,
Yeah.
and he's got to pay off his debt. And like that old traditional songs that came from over
Mm.
there, they just melt my heart every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Even if I've listened to them since I was a teenager, and I still get that fascination of
Yeah.
why that was written about and what it
So
was.
it's fair to say you've had an extensive career. Like,
Yeah,
do you have any highlights, or do you think there's still more to come because you're so busy?
man, there's always more to come. I mean, my highlight of my life was obviously marrying my wife and having my two daughters.
Mm.
That like music's important, but that's way more important to me.
Hmm.
And my career with the dogs has been phenomenal. I've won national championships. I mean, everything I've done with that. My time with the horses has been amazing. My hunting career and game I've got to hunt has been amazing. But man, it's all a blessing, right? I mean, to play songs and have people listen to them is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like Good Time Man's done well in streaming. Road Song's done really well. Bird Calls, all those have streamed really well. Sweet and True, when we released it a week ago, is streaming better than any song I've ever released. And I think is there a milestone? No, but is there milestones? Yes, but is there blessings? Even more.
Mm.
That I take it all as a blessing.
That's
That
great.
that's
Great
happened.
place to
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
And finally, where's social media platforms? Where's best to
Yeah,
come and visit you?
my it's great. My Instagram is Ben Garcia Music. My Facebook is Ben Garcia Music, and my webpage is also Ben Garcia Music. We tried to stay like as consistent as we could through that. And then, excuse me, we have a web YouTube channel that we're hopefully getting some more videos of these shows up on. We've got some to upload, but yeah, and then that's the best way to reach me is mostly Instagram. What do you use? What's your most platform you use?
Probably Facebook actually,
You
and
do, yeah,
Instagram as well, and YouTube.
yeah. Yeah, my personal stuff I have on Facebook because it's just easier to put it on there. The music does better. The music page does better on Instagram than Facebook, but it just
Hmm.
depends on
Mm.
there's some demographics in there that we watch that which population goes to
Yeah.
which for what, and I mean they're both super user friendly,
Mm.
and but I mean it's interesting. My Instagram page for the music, I just follow musicians. That's all I have, and like I get this great music that I never would hear, from all over the world. That's fantastic. My personal page, like I have a bunch of food junkie stuff on there, stuff I like to cook. So like I kind of divide my personal time of like, all right, I'm going to look how to make steak, or like how to cook, roast these vegetables. And then I'll switch over to my music page, which has
Yeah.
all my music
That's a
on
good
there.
idea to have. Keep them filtered.
Yeah, it
One.
messes with the algorithm, and
Mm,
so
that's good.
a little bit, yeah. So like if you're like, I mean, just like what I did on that, like if I really like cooking, then I just follow all cooking pages on my one account, and then my music's on
Yeah.
another, so I don't get a clutter of. It kind of prevents rabbit holes where you're already in a rabbit hole,
Yeah.
but it prevents that so much information
Yeah.
coming at you,
Great. That's great. Lovely speaking to you today. I just
Yeah,
wanted to play like a little game. Well, take a couple of minutes where I give you like
yeah,
two or three options, and you just have to select the option that you feel is most applicable to you, which is like
right,
most desirable. So the first
sweet.
one was a hot dog or a burger, which, well, you can
Oh
pass.
man, that's what we're having for dinner tomorrow night because my daughter's turning 17 and having a party. Um, man, that's a good one. I'm gonna say hot dog for sure
Mm,
because it's summer here,
yeah,
and that's
nice.
it's summer. Yeah, I mean, but it's a 50-50 split. But if you
Yeah,
put me on the spot right now, I'd have a
sure.
hot dog for sure.
And
Yeah,
just a couple more we'll do.
yeah.
Games of Thrones or The Lord of the Rings?
Oh man, I have not seen either. So full admitting, like I have not seen either of those. I think I read Lord of the Rings when I was in high school or junior high, so I'll go with Lord of the Rings. But I have not seen. I've seen clips of Games of Thrones, but I've not dove into that. So I
Yeah,
have other avenues of purging my free time. But other than
cool.
that, so that's a
And
great question.
mentioning free time, a game of bowling, like 10-pin bowling, mini
Right.
golf, or a game of pool.
Oh, what do you consider a game of pool? What like game like
Yeah,
billiards? Like kind
yeah,
of yeah.
eight
Oh,
ball,
by
is
far,
it?
yeah,
Eight ball,
yeah,
nine ball.
yeah, yeah. By far. I mean, I in my college days frequently visited those kind of places, and I would say like, yeah, I wasn't good at pool, but like I really that time hanging out with your friends and just shooting it, is just a great one. So I'd say pool. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not good at it all, but like I mean, me and my wife were in Oklahoma for a show a couple weeks ago and got to go play some pool, and for sure playing pool would be mine. So yeah,
nice one. Well, that's
yeah,
brilliant. That wraps up a great interview. Ben Garcia on today's show. Thanks for joining me. And we'll get your new single. Which one shall we go with to play on my
sweet and
radio show?
true. Yeah, sweet and true for
Sweet
sure.
and true.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, we'll
yeah,
go
yeah,
that one.
yeah. Thank you
Great to
so
have you
much for
on.
having me. It was so
Yep.
nice. Blessed.
Yeah,
Have
lovely
you really feel
chatting
like
with
it's a
you.
great
All
time
right.
for sure. Be safe. Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you very much.